Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Empress 555. Thank you so much for tuning in for yet another message, okay? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for messages like this, for readings, all other information. Please like, share, and subscribe and hit your notification bell so you'll be notified when I'm live, okay? All right, everybody. So today I'm going to be sharing Marshall's story, okay? All right. So this starts off with a couple that they were instantly attracted to each other. But the thing about it is when they first had their first date, because they met online, like a lot of us are doing, they met online, and the lady, she was so excited. She was so excited to meet him. She was so excited to be in the presence of the person that she had been speaking to for weeks or potentially months, or at least a month. We're going to say months, okay? So when she decided to go, she took him up on his offer to meet up. And so they met up. And the thing about it, the first thing out of Marshall's mouth was, "You're not a model." And it shocked her. She's like, "What? You're not a model." And she's looking at him like, "Are you serious right now?" So immediately she felt sadness within her. Every fiber in her being was telling her to get up from this table at dinner and leave this man sitting here. But because of her wanting to be in a connection, which a lot of us make this mistake, meant wanting to be in a connection, she continued to have this meal with him. But the whole time she couldn't get over the fact that he had just humiliated her, outright disrespected her, right? So later in that conversation, he's looking her straight in the face. He's already judging her, Marshall. So the thing about it is, he later asked her about, did she like to go to family gatherings? Did she like to, was she all about family? Was she religious? Typical questions that we may ask. And she says, "Oh, yeah, I love family. I thrive on being around family, and I have a strong faith and all of that." And he says, "Well, okay." And he invited her to meet his family at some type of function. And she said she agreed, even though she was still feeling a bit resentful because of what he said. And she brought it up to him. She says, "Well, you just told me that I wasn't a model. You just pretty much told me that I'm not good enough. So now you want to invite me to a family function." And he looks at her and he says, "I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said that." Later, she will learn to know why he said that. So she agreed to go to this family function. And then he tells her, "I have to warn you about something." She says, "Well, what do you have to warn me about?" "Well, there may be something that'll say there may be someone, I'm sorry, that will say something about your weight." And she's like, "Huh?" And he says, "Yeah, there may be someone there that may say something about your weight." And she looked at him. "My weight? So are you telling me that if I was skinny, that no one would say anything?" And he says, "Yeah." All nonchalant. So at this time, there was still every bit of her intuition telling her to get up from this table and leave this man sitting here. Her name was Rose, by the way. Rose had every opportunity to leave this man sitting there. But she continued. She agreed. Mind you, maybe she hadn't dated in a while. Maybe she hadn't really been around family like that. And maybe she was trying to look at what this man was saying as an honest mistake, but really he was outright disrespecting her. And he was also showing her who he really was. He was showing his true colors. But because Rose did not want to see them, she continued to talk to this man. All right? A lot of us have made this mistake. Okay. So they parted ways and everything, and she couldn't get it off her mind about what he said. She just couldn't get it out of her mind. And so she continued on. They spoke on the phone. They started hanging out. They did things. They actually went to this family function. And the thing about it, she enjoyed herself. She felt like his family was good and she got a good vibe from them, but she didn't get a good vibe from him. She didn't get a good vibe from him. And if she really retraced her steps and think back, she never had a good vibe from him. Even from the from day one, from the first time they met. And so she would ask him, like, are you embarrassed by me? Do you want to be with me? He said, yeah, I love you. I love being with you. This and that. And so they went around in this merry-go-round for years. This couple, they were together, believe it or not, 4 years, right? I mean, they had good times, they had bad times, but they were together 4 years. And so, um, I really think that Rose was looking for validation from him. She had had her experience with certain relationships that didn't work, and she really wanted this one to work because he met her family, she met his. But the thing about it, he was in between jobs. Rose was stable, okay? And that's not being judgmental, but he still lived at home. Rose had her own place, okay? This guy was 7 years older than she. Rose was 7 years younger than he and had accomplished more, not because he couldn't do it, but because she applied herself. So out the gate, we can already see that he was jealous of her. We can already see that there was something about her that he could tell that he lacked. A lot of times when people project insecurities out there by being rude to us or by pointing out things about us, it's really how they feel about themselves, or they feel like they want to knock you down because they feel low. And this is what he was doing. Okay? He was doing this because it's like, I feel like you're more than me. I don't want you to be higher than me. So let me remind you of a flaw. And this is what he did. And Rose was a beautiful lady, still is. And he wanted to break her down because he felt broken down. He wanted her to only thrive because of his validation and appreciation. Rose asked him, out of all the events that I've attended with you, I have yet to have a problem with your family talking about my weight or my appearance. I have yet to see this person that always teases people about their weight. And that's when it clicked in her mind. It was him. It was him that had the issue. It was him that had the addiction to looking at women online, lingerie stuff and all this stuff. It was him that had that problem, going into that double energy we talk about in tarot. It was him. And he was projecting that onto her. He wanted her to feel less than because he didn't feel good about himself. All right. And as the good book says, that any man that doesn't feel good about himself, how can he love you? He doesn't love himself. Because a man or woman that can intentionally hurt you, they can't love themselves. How can they love themselves if they're going to hurt other people? It doesn't make sense. So they went on after 2 years, and he asked her to marry him. He went to her family and asked for her hand. Now, her family knew of some of the things that he said and some of the ways, behaviors he had. So they were not really good with it. But because they knew it was her decision, they approved. Okay? So they went on, they were engaged, and they still had these same issues because Rose couldn't get over the fact that he dismissed her. And she knew that she should have walked away from this, but she was in an illusion. She was in what we call that Two of Swords, right? She was in an illusion. She did not want to see the truth, but this man was showing her who he really was the whole time by his online activity, talking to other women, complimenting other women, acting like she was insignificant. He was showing her who he was. So it came a time where she started asking him, are we going to be planning for our wedding? Are we going to get counseling? What are we doing? And he didn't have an answer. He would say, I'm not ready yet. Okay. We got to year number 4. And he'd say, I'm not ready yet. And Rose knew that she did not want to be engaged for years and no marriage. Right. So she started really talking to him about it. And because he was still in between jobs, trying to find his way, didn't know if he wanted to go back to school, didn't know if he wanted to do this, didn't know if he wanted to start a business, whatever. He just blew her off. He ignored her feelings and all of that. And we all know that when we can't do something, the divine steps in and makes something happen. So it was one day. He used to work in between jobs, like temporary jobs, and hoping that that job would become permanent. So one day he came over to her house. He went over to her house, and he was supposed to help her out with something. And she could tell that he was tired or he was stressed, or she couldn't really tell what was going on. So she said, well, you don't have to do it today. Let's just chill out and we could do it another day. And he says, okay. And then he says, I can't do this anymore. And she says, do what? I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be with you. And she's like, what? I don't want to be with you. This is over with. You need to move on. You need to go on and all this. And she's looking like, what? Where is all this coming from? What Rose didn't know behind the scenes is this man did not feel, he never felt like he was worthy of her. So all the challenges that she faced with him, he never felt as if he was good enough for her. But instead of telling her that, he tried to always make it seem like there was something wrong with her, when really he didn't feel like he deserved her or deserved the situation. So sometimes people will try to do a reset. Sometimes they'll try to get out of a situation and then want to hit the reset button and try to act like it never happened. And this is what he did. This is what Marshall did. So it broke her heart. She asked questions, and he said, I just don't feel like this is right, and I want you to go on, and all that kind of stuff, and anything you could think of. You argue too much, you're this, you're that. He didn't really take accountability, but at least he told her. So he left her home. She was devastated. She's calling him. She's asking, why? How could you do this? And he doesn't have an answer. But what he knows is that he is not in a place to receive the love from a queen. He was not in that place. So weeks went by, a couple of weeks. I'll say this, on the first day of the breakup, he immediately changed his status from engaged to single, and he also contacted Rose and asked her for the engagement ring back. Painful, painful, painful situations that this woman had to go through. So she didn't fight with him. She didn't argue with him. She commenced to get the ring together. He wanted to come back and get it, but she said, no, I will mail it to you. I will get it back to you. So not only did she give him the ring back, but she gave him back everything he had ever given her, trying to clear her energy field. So she boxed everything up, and she went to her local UPS and she mailed it all back. A few days later, he received the package. He sends her a message. Why did you send all this stuff back? All I wanted was the ring. She didn't respond. You don't have to be mad because it's over. Let's not have ill will. This is what he said to her in text message. She did not respond. So what Marshall realized in that moment, that Rose was done with him. She had blocked him. She had sent everything back. And he realized in that moment that she was done. But he had hurt her so deeply. And she wasn't going to dare allow him to see that pain. But he hurt her. But Rose also learned to not be so quick into getting into something with somebody that has already shown you who they are. When somebody shows you, everybody, when somebody shows you, especially at the beginning, that they're not really vested, that they're not really in it for the right reasons, don't continue with that person. Because you could take your time and meet somebody that really deserves to be around your energy. And this guy did not deserve to be around Rose's energy. He had a queen. He was not a king. He was not fit to be with her. And this is something that Marshall thinks about. We don't know how often, but it's very difficult to be with somebody that long and not think about them. Even sometimes you can be with somebody for a short amount of time, you still think about them. But Rose, she learned from this hurt. She learned from this pain. And she's able to take her lesson and apply it and take her time getting to know people and to really see where she stands in their life, and also to trust her intuition, because you got to remember the intuition was speaking to her the whole time, trying to warn her, trying to protect her. But sometimes we can go against our intuition because we want what we want right then, right? All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I go live and for other readings. Leave a comment to let me know if this message resonates with you, or share your story in the comment section. Information on the person, I'll visit the website in the description box, okay? Have a great one, everybody. Take care. Stay safe and blessed. This is Empress 555. Bye.